And now, live in studio, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
Yes, here we are again, another day committed to being your consumer advocate, helping you understand your buying decisions, making you more street smart here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, as we do. And we got a great lineup for you today. We're going to talk about insurance, roofing, and also disaster recovery. Mold Zero's on the show, on the program today. We've got Doug Levi, Strategic Insurance, coming on, Brandon Faust, Mold Zero, and Chuck Peterson, Suncoast Roofing. And we're going to have kind of a roundtable discussion around some of the recent legislation going forward in the State House and the Senate, and some different things in the insurance space. So when you think about home ownership and real estate, what a driver it is to the economy, we're going to talk about some of the things happening in that space in terms of, hey, listen, the insurance industry got hit really hard last year. Doug's going to weigh in on that. And then Chuck Peterson's going to talk about how it affects with roofing. And then Brandon Faust is also seeing, when he has claims, some of the issues that homeowners can, anticipate there. So we want to make you more street smart. Save our hotline number in your phone, 813-670-7372.
You used to call me on my cell phone.
Hit us up on the website, consumerqb.com, or consumerqb.com is the website, or the phone number, 813-670-7372. Of course, we all heard about the unemployment coming in, the unemployment report. 266,000 new jobs came in, well short of the consensus estimates. Going to dive a little deeper on that on the second part of the show with our show producers are going to join me on mic as well. I want to give a quick shout out to Veteran Gutters. If you're looking at putting gutters on your home, why not have a veteran do it for you? Someone who served our country, and Brandon Porter and his team do a great job. United States, American-made product right here, a local business in Tampa Bay. Veteran Gutters, longtime friends of the program. And one quick property for this segment. We got a property on Elm Street. Beautiful opportunity. Vacant land is selling fast. This is a great lot. This is on Elm Street in Safety Harbor, 9th Avenue, and it's just a great opportunity to have your property featured on the show as a seller, as we're featuring this property here. Now, this property is just a nice opportunity in one of the best little cities in Tampa Bay, Safety Harbor. You got downtown living, just a gorgeous opportunity, and you can see all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com.
This is God's country.
All right, roundtable discussion with our expert contributors, Doug Levi, Strategic Insurance. Welcome back, sir.
Brandon, always good to be in the house. Love being here in Tampa Bay and talking to everybody about what's going on. Lots of changes in the insurance marketplace for sure. So we'll have some good info for our listeners.
Yeah, I want to dive deeper in that, and you had some great stats for us on that as well. Brandon Faust joining us as well. Brandon Faust, Mold Zero.
That's right. Good times with Brandon Rhymes. Always like being on air with you and talking to your guys on the radio.
Awesome, man. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. So it's going to be heavy on insurance and claims today, and what you can see, and how we always talk about mold being a silent killer, as well as Chuck Peterson, Suncoast Roofing. Hey, Chuck.
Hey, Big B. How you doing? How you feeling?
Doing well, buddy. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Yes, sir. So the same thing too, Chuck. So let me just kick it off with Chuck. Chuck, recap what you told us, because I wanted to bring this up to Doug. We looked at the premiums. I just came from a GOP party last night, and we were talking about the state speakers were talking, and the state reps were discussing how the insurance industry was hit pretty hard, and how hard they're working to try to keep premiums down and affordable. But on the flip side of that, on the roofing, talk to us about that bill that passed the House and the Senate. I'm not sure if it's signed by the governor yet, but talk to me about that.
All right. So in order to keep the premiums from continuing to move up, the legislation has agreed to the insurance companies' kind of demands to reduce the coverage, basically. So what that has done is, if you own a house that has shingles on it, if there's a claim against that house on your roof, and the shingles are going to be 10 years old or older, 10 years plus, they're only going to pay out 25% of the value of the roof, less your deductible. For tile, it's 25%, and for metal, it's 40%. So any roof that's over 10 years old basically is going to be discounted tremendously on your insurance claim in that piece of the bill.
Right.
So we're not fans of the legislation. I mean, I know the insurance premiums were moving up because the insurance companies have been getting hammered.
Yeah.
But to put ourselves at peril of, you're basically going to have to, you're basically going to have enough money in your to self-insure your.
Right. Yeah, we got a bad signal there with Chuck, but yeah. So the point he was making, Doug, I want to bring this to you now. Is we've heard about the issues with insurance companies, how they got hit pretty hard, and then of course, so we like to protect consumers. We want to give them the insights here. Why do you think that was a necessary thing, or potentially maybe not? Who knows? Maybe the governor vetoes it. But what's your take on that?
Well, first I'll say, our agency, we're TampaBayInsurance.com is our website. We're here for the consumers, not the insurance companies, if you will. So, we work on behalf of our clients. Obviously, we represent insurance companies, but ultimately my clients are the community. And it's a huge issue. I mean, I don't think there's an easy answer for it. I don't love what got passed either. I agree with Chuck there. I think the challenge in what we've seen before anything's been done at all, is you've got a lot of people who have older roofs and they can't afford to replace their roofs, right? So let's say you've got a roof that's 25 years old that's a shingle roof. It's definitely past its life expectancy. The insurance company won't write you insurance at all. So, the thought is, okay, well, if we can kind of make this doable where, now we can help accommodate people who have older roofs and at least get them some coverage. Kind of oatmeal is better than no meal. But the challenge is, most people don't understand this. They're not reading the fine points of their policy, no matter how many times an agent like myself might explain up front. Mm-hmm. And frankly, guys like Chuck that have to deal with it on the back end. So, it's definitely a complex problem. I'm not crazy about it overall. But, this is where we're at right now. I will highlight, and I think, and Brandon or Chuck can correct me, I don't know that it's officially been signed into law yet. Right? So
confirmed, yeah.
So it's in front of the governor, whether he'll sign it or not. So it's kind of like, depending on when people are listening to the show, stay tuned on that. And I think always just looking for practical takeaways are, if you've got an older roof, you need to start thinking years in advance and starting to save to get your roof replaced. Yeah. That's the reality. That's another big one but the insurance companies see, and this is definitely true, an older roof is more vulnerable, and typically in the event of high wind or a hurricane is the first thing to go. And that's why the insurance companies have these really hard guidelines on the age of the roof.
Well, Doug, wasn't it a $2 billion loss year or something? Yeah. What was that number you said last time?
So if you look at all of the insurance homeowners carriers we're talking in the state of Florida, over the last about year and a half, they've lost about $1.5 billion in cash. So basically, they've had to either have more investors put money in or run into their savings to continue to operate the company. So that is not an insignificant number. It's, again, there's a complex issue, but you've got, high level, we're starting to see claims catch up with the market, going back to Irma and Michael, all the storms that had hit years ago. There's also issues with some fraud that's gone on, assignment of benefit fraud. So there's a variety of reasons, but, the reality is the carriers aren't going to just continue to take these losses without either raising rates or trying to make changes. So I think, right. Where's the sweet spot, right? Like, what's fair for the consumer, and then what's going to ensure, no pun intended, that there is property insurance in our state. I've been in the business 18 years. If I go back 18 years, Brandon, when I first started, we had, in essence, 3 companies in the state of Florida that were actively writing. One was Citizens, and then Universal Property and Casualty, and one other. Now you've got about 15 to 20 actively writing, but some of those carriers are closing or shedding policies, canceling policies, consolidating, or going out of business. So it's, we also want to make sure that there's enough capital there for these carriers to actually write insurance.
Yeah, and that's what Representative DeSigley said yesterday, too. He said this was a measure to get in place to open up the markets even more. So hopefully that encourages
Right.
other companies to come into Florida, write policies. We all see how hot the real estate market is. And by the way, if you just joined us, we have our real estate and insurance round table discussion here with Doug Levi, Strategic Insurance, Brandon Faust, Mold Zero, as well as Chuck Peterson, Suncoast Roofing. So I want to go to Brandon and get your take on, not only the roofing side, but also you had mentioned when water loss happens, there's some limits as well that homeowners may not be aware of.
Absolutely. I can't tell you how many times, it's come up that somebody had some sort of a water intrusion issue, a flood, and, we write out the exact estimate, that the insurance company would agree upon in terms of this is a fair price for that job. And it turns out that you look at the fine print, just like Doug is saying, and it turns out they have a $10,000 water cap. So even if the Xactimate is telling us, hey, this is going to be a $30,000 job to replace it, you're only getting $10K for that particular situation. Same type of thing with mold. I mean, in Florida, it's interesting. We actually do have mold coverage, and it's usually about a $10K limit. In a lot of states, they don't have anything having to do with mold, and there's some insurance companies that won't cover mold. So you have to figure out, okay, where does that fit in? Because it obviously can impact the health of, the person in the home as well, right?
Sure. Yeah, the mold.
So,
the mold side of it, I could definitely see that. So it might even get to a point where some people are having to decide, okay, well, let's just do the remediation, go ahead and put the stucco back or the drywall back, and we'll just have to paint it later or finish it later, put tile over it later in certain cases, they're going to have a partial job potentially.
It could go that way. I mean, I definitely think that for their investment, their long-term investment, their home, they want to do the right thing. You really need to follow the standards that are laid out in terms of this is the exact way that it should be done. Because if you're going to go to resell your home down the road, you also want to make sure that it was done by a licensed and certified contractor or mold remediator or water mitigation person, because you have to disclose that as well. So it's definitely not a do-it-yourself project, and it's not really something that you want to have left halfway either.
Right.
So, but it comes down to what one of your other guests was talking about, is they're only going to cover a certain percentage of it. So you really have to think with that, because, for example, if you don't get your roof fixed, then you're going to end up calling me, because if that roof has any sort of leakage, you're going to wind up with mold.
Right.
And that impacts the health. So every single one of these things a homeowner has to be thinking with. It's not there should be some sort of write-up. These are all the different things you need to think with if you're going to become a homeowner, because there's a lot of these extra expenses that you might not think with it. You're thinking, I'm going to get my dream home, and obviously it's great, and we have a great place here in Tampa, and it's a hot market, but at the same time, you really need to know what you're getting into as well.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, hey, more from our expert contributors on the other side of this break. We'll be right back. We're going to take a quick break. More from our expert contributors, Doug Levi, Strategic Insurance, Brandon Faust, Mold Zero, and Chuck Peterson, Suncoast Roofing, here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Thanks for listening to my daddy's show. For more information, go to consumerqb.com.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
My friends, when choosing a listing agent to sell your home, their track record is critically important. Dennis Prager here for Brandon and Lindsay Rhymes, owners of Platinum MVP Team at Keller Williams Real Estate. They're consistently rated by the MLS in the top 1% of all Tampa Bay realtors, and that's a big deal. Brandon and Lindsay are always among the top realtors in the state. Call them today at 813-750-0550.
Find them at platinummvpteam.kw.com.
Selling commercial or residential property? Don't leave money on the table. List with the Platinum MVP Team at Keller Williams Realty. I'm Brandon Rhymes. Reach me at 813-670-7372 or platinummvpteam.com.
My name is James DeJerome, and I produce the Consumer Quarterback Show for Brandon Rhymes. The Consumer Quarterback Show is a team, a group of like-minded professionals who partner together to provide our audience sound advice, knowledge, and information to make them wiser consumers. We work with all types of business owners and aggressively promote our local economy. We're currently conducting interviews for our expert contributors. If you own a business or know someone who would benefit from the exposure our show provides, please contact us at 813-750-0550 or online at consumerqb.com.
You're listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-670-7372.
All right, welcome back. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show powered by the Platinum MVP team. We always feature our real estate listings live on air to help our sellers profit more on the sale of their real estate properties. Got a hot one on the beach, Sand Key, Clearwater Beach. Beautiful property at 1200 Gulf Boulevard, number 1805. Great opportunity, VIP executive style living here in Tampa Bay. This is a $2.67 million listing of ours. The Platinum MVP team, Keller Williams Realty. Great opportunity to own a high-end penthouse here on the beach. Send it out to your friends. Share it. If you see our listings on Facebook, please like it and share it. We greatly appreciate that. And we would love to talk to any buyers, sellers, or investors. Reach out on our website, platinummvpteam.kw.com. All right, so we got Doug Levi, Strategic Insurance, Brandon Faust, Mold Zero, and Chuck Peterson, Suncoast Roofing on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We're having a deep dive into insurance, how it affects these different areas of life, especially for homeowners and consumers out there. It's one of those things where you're paying that premium, but you're not really sure what you're getting. You got to understand these new rules and laws that are passing or potentially about to pass here in the State House and the State Senate, and to be signed into law by the governor. But we've got our expert contributors here weighing in now. When we talked about earlier, we talked about water loss. You talk about roofing as well. And Doug Levi, I want to go back to you, Doug, and talk a little bit about what you're seeing overall from some of your customers right now and some of your folks that you're working with. What's happening in the market?
So we're seeing rate increases across the board, Brandon. We're seeing rate increases. It can be anywhere from 10 to 40% with different home insurance carriers. We have a real proactive process in place at our agency where we actually shop the market proactively, and we'll make recommendations to switch. So, one of the things we've always just kind of said on the show is, obviously we have a say in who we vote for at the polls, but at the end of the day, the average consumer doesn't really have a say in how these bills shake out, right? So we can't do a ton about that. But what you can do is be proactive and review what you've got. Make sure okay, who's my home insurance carrier? What do I have? How much am I paying? There's a lot of people, they don't even know. They're just, oh yeah, it's included in my mortgage because it's escrow. Right. But now's the time where if you've maybe not been as proactive the last several years, take us up. We always offer our $17 Amazon gift card challenge where we just say, hey, we'd love to review what we've got. Worst thing we can do is save you money. We're going to give you a $17 Amazon gift card just for the opportunity, So really take a look and review what you've got. Make sure you understand your deductibles, your coverage, and that you're not overpaying because there's a lot of people that are.
Yeah, exactly. You got to be careful about that and reach out to the show. The hotline is 813-750-0550. Call or text the hotline 813-750-0550. We'll put you in touch with Doug Levi. And if you have mold, potentially mold, of course, you can text mold as well. You can text insurance and in roofing if you want to get a checkup on your roof as well. Chuck Peterson, they offer free inspections as well on the roofing components of your property. Is that right, Chuck?
That's correct.
So you go out and give them a look. And then also if you want to dive deeper, too, and look at a way to save money on insurance, you could have Jay Smith, A Snoop Inspection, who was in studio last week with us, and he can do a wind mitigation. So the wind mitigation can help you as well. Brandon, I want to go back to you. Brandon Faust, Mold Zero. We've talked about the labor market as well. Are you seeing crunches in the labor market? And we've also talked about the supply, so wood and steel, for different types of builders and economic activity. It's interesting because, this is all starting to come and hit people now, especially some of the larger builders.
I think so. I really have been fortunate in regard to the hiring department myself. But I know that, some of my other contemporaries are having a difficult time with the current labor market and the fact that they make almost as much money sitting at home as they do working their butt off, right? So that's an issue that I don't think we can ignore. On top of that, you have the market doing what it's doing in terms of the prices, which is going to impact, obviously, the cost of everything in terms of wood, metal, steel, things along these lines. We just had this hacking that took place with the pipeline
Yes.
and shutting off supply that could very easily impact that end of things as well. So we really are dealing with a price increase. Xactimate for me updates their prices every month. You type in a zip code and it's going to give you the prices that should be in place on average for that area. And just looking at sort of what the prices have done from that program, which the insurance goes off of, the prices have definitely gone up. Zero question about it.
Yeah, and I think you're gonna see that increase, trickle around. Even when you look at gasoline, just for example, how gasoline affects it's affecting the truck drivers. It's affecting consumer products, plastics. A lot of plastics are made from offsets of gasoline and the crude oil. So the effects on the economy, and if you have reserves set aside, it might be a good idea to go out and buy some of your household items, some of these different items, because it seems like almost everything across the board is going to increase in price. Chuck, is that what you're seeing?
Yeah, we got a price increase letter from our suppliers in the last week, and next month, the middle of the month, everything on your roof material-wise moves anywhere from 5 to 10% across the board. That was before the pipeline thing, which I don't think will really impact the price of the materials that we're dealing with too awful much, unless it turned into a really long-term issue. But a week or two, I don't think will bother. But there's already price increases, in the works as it is.
Yeah. And it's the politicians in D.C., what a horrible job they're doing right now. I mean, it's unbelievable. There's so much uncertainty, the inflation. They're talking about trillions more dollars being printed and circulated into our economy. And I just hope they don't figure out what comes after trillion. What comes after trillion, right? I mean, that's the scary part, right? So hopefully they don't figure that out. But and now you got Janet Yellen, the Treasury Secretary, talking about interest rates may need to rise. So all of that's new information for most people, and for people in the mortgage industry, the real estate industry, right on down the line. That's scary stuff when they start talking about increasing the rates now. So
right,
how will that affect? But and then the jobs reports comes in less, and it's ridiculous. We're paying people to stay at home. We're sending out these checks, and paying people a decent wage to stay at home, and then they'll make a little bit of money on the side doing things or whatever they might do. But hey, what a challenging time. I want to get quick thoughts, guys, from you. We have about a minute and a half left. Doug, give me your final thoughts, and then. Final
thoughts is, and we really didn't talk about it a lot too, but there's changes to auto insurance coming as well, Brendan. They're looking about taking personal injury protection or no fault coverage away. That also got included in the legislation. Again, hasn't been signed yet, but that would mean minimum coverage would be going from $10,000 to $25,000 required, liability-wise. So. Lots of changes at hand, and you don't be asleep at the wheel. I think the message to consumers is don't be asleep at the wheel. Reach out to myself at, TampaBayInsurance.com, the other professionals that are on the line here. You've assembled such a great team to really help the community, and now's a good time for the consumer to be proactive. You've got to watch your dollars because there's sure as heck that the government's not doing it
right
for
on.
us. Right?
Brandon Faust.
So that would be my takeaway.
Thanks, Doug. Brandon Faust, 30 seconds.
Yeah, one thing I think everybody should really take into consideration is the potentiality of some of these projects doing self-pay, right? Rather than kind of eating into your deductible, you already have to pay that, and then maybe it's a couple $1,000 to do whatever the claim may be. But you also run the risk of your insurance company canceling your policy as well, right? I've had that happen with some of our clients that they filed a loss, and now they have no insurance at all. So you got to think with that.
All right, Chuck, thanks a lot. Chuck Peterson, Suncoast Roofing, we're out of time. Brandon Faust,
no worries.
Doug Levi, appreciate you guys. Great stuff, good content for our listeners out there. We'll have a wonderful day, fellas. We'll talk to you.
Yeah, see ya.
All right, we'll be right back. Stay with us right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Check out consumerqb.com.
This is Chris Voss, former FBI lead hostage negotiator and owner of the Black Swan Group. And you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show hosted by my friend Brandon Ryan.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
Jose, you got me?
I got you. Can you hear yourself?
Yeah, just talk a little bit so I get my level.
It should be Brandon because my level is going to be significantly lower.
That's good. I got you.
Oh, James, I got these here. I'm going to give you a few of these to hand out to people when they come in.
Okay.
And then it also helps us with this segment right now because we could kind of go down the list for our partners. That's an updated partner list. Here's one for you, just by the way.
Oh, thanks.
And that moving company was going to sign up the one from last week.
Mm-hmm.
Did that CNN article? Were you able to get that, James?
Oh, you talking about the steel one? Hang on.
Which feel good are you doing?
We'll do. This looks like a nice short one. Twin sisters deliver babies just minutes apart.
This is a Facebook video.
Yeah, Facebook.com. Twin sisters in South Carolina gave birth in the same hospital in adjacent rooms, just minutes apart. Caroline Gigari, Candace Hip were also born minutes apart. The sisters grew up together and now live across the street from each other. Even during labor in separate rooms, the twins found a way to be there for each other. Huh. That's pretty funny.
We ready in there? All right, everybody stand by.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show. We greatly appreciate you tuning into our show, following us online. Brandon Rhymes 1 on Instagram and Twitter, Consumer Quarterback Show page on Facebook, as well as the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty, the #1 real estate company in the world. We are a top 1% ranked real estate team here in Tampa Bay, and we love to feature our real estate listings live on air on the show to help our sellers profit more and get exposure. You know, we're on 85 different outlets, Apple, Amazon, Roku, plus, YouTube, of course, 1,200 videos on YouTube. So we'd love to connect with you online, and we appreciate you following, and also share the show. If you like the show and you see value in the show on a daily basis, we'd love for you to share that as well, and it really helps us out a lot as well online. So I want to talk about a couple of hot property listings that we've got here in Tampa Bay. I want to talk about Elm Street in Safety Harbor, 9th Street in Safety Harbor. This is a vacant land. A lot of builders are looking for space to build, land to build. A lot of homeowners are looking for land to build on as well. And this is Elm Street, Safety Harbor. Build your dream home. This is a lot that is ready. There's utilities on site, so that saves you a lot of money as far as impact fees go. There are backs up to a conservation area, so it's at the end of a road as well. So it's very private back there. Beautiful trees surrounding the property. Great opportunity to build your dream home right here in Tampa Bay, one of the #1 real estate markets in the world, as well as Safety Harbor, which is just a beautiful community here in Tampa Bay as well. So much to do, lots of attractions. You got the resort and spa down there. Of course, you're close to the water as well. Elm Street / 9th. Some sites show it as 9th Street as well. Safety Harbor. Great opportunity to buy real estate here in beautiful Tampa Bay. Also, 1200 Gulf Boulevard. We've got a penthouse available on the beach. This is in Sand Key, beachfront, beautiful property, 1200 Gulf Boulevard, number 1805. This is almost 4,000 square feet. You've got 3 terraces, not only overlooking the Gulf of Mexico, but also the intercoastal waterways right here in Tampa Bay. Resort-style amenities, tennis, pool, barbecue area, all types of great foyer entry areas as well, pool table room, lots of opportunities, great opportunity to see prime property, executive style living, VIP living here in Tampa Bay. And you can see all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. And let's give a shout out to Replenish IV Solutions, the science of nutritional balance. Shout out to Stephen and Lisa Gunnan over at Replenish IV Solution, longtime friends of the program. And what I love about Replenish IV Solutions is that you walk in, there's a nurse there, they're going to greet you, they're going to offer you water, and you're going to sit down, you're going to get a vitamin infusion right into your bloodstream. So you're getting vitamins, nutrients, minerals, all types of good stuff. They've got the Myers cocktail, which is one of the most famous and most popular. But if you want to feel energized, hydrated, and replenished, reach out to our friends over at Replenish IV Solutions. Multiple locations throughout Tampa Bay, but they can also come to you. They can come to your home or office. Replenish IV Solutions. Make sure you let them know the real estate quarterback sent you. All right, joining me in studio, James D. Jerome, producer. Welcome.
What's going on, Brandon? Good to be here. I was just fascinated by the discussion with Doug and everybody. Chuck and Brandon. Sometimes you don't think of your partners as working together, but a lot of times a roofer is going to run into an insurance guy all the time, of course. And then Brandon with the mold thing, just really cool to see different perspectives on this whole idea. We're out there for the consumer. We're going to do everything we can to make sure that you're getting the right information and we're looking out for you. This one's a little trickier. You got different sides of this issue. You got to kind of figure out where you stand. I remember last week you brought up the fact that some folks may not think of their home as a 30-year home. They may be in a house for 5 years. They may not be as concerned about a 10-year mark on their insurance. So it's something that you got to kind of find out where your spot is and how you kind of fit into this thing.
Yeah. When you look at real estate as an investment, a lot of times people, they come in and they think, wow, I'm going to live here forever. Mm-hmm. And the national statistics show that it's a 5 to 7 year, time that people live. Things happen, jobs job transfers, etc. Divorce is a big one, and people, sometimes when you look at that. And the overall economy, look at the way the insurance industry got hit pretty hard. We had 3 or 4 storms and hurricanes, and so that's what Doug was saying.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. Doug is in a bad spot from the storm perspective. We had 2 storms at one time making landfall in August last year, and we had another one on Thanksgiving weekend.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just getting very spread out, and there's no way to mitigate the damage. And we were in the over $20 billion in terms of damage.
Right. So then what they do, so that's what the Representative DeSeglia was talking about. It's like, hey, we got to do something to keep premiums low. And then on the flip side, it's like, well, after 10 years, what happens to the homeowner? They're going to only get 25% of their claim. Yeah. And then I'm fearful that some of them may have to file bankruptcy at that time.
100%. In the scenarios that Chuck has laid out for us, when he goes around, Mexico Beach and all these places that just get devastated, he looks around. Sometimes there is nothing but slabs left from the damage that's done to these properties.
Yeah.
And you think, our state, the way it is with the storms, it's just hard to think you're going to navigate the rest of your time as a homeowner without having to deal with something like this.
Yeah, it really is, James. When you look at labor markets, that's a challenge. Also, raw materials. Here's an article that was sent to me. Steel prices have tripled now. Bank of America is sounding the alarm. So this is from CNN Business. It says the pandemic brought the American steel industry to its knees last, forcing manufacturers to shut down production as they struggle to survive the imploding economy. But as recovery got underway, mills were slow to resume production, and that created massive steel shortages. And then Phil Gibbs goes on to say, he's the director of medical equity research at KeyBank. The correction will be very intense and just a matter of when and how it happens. But the specifics are, after bottoming out around $460 last year, U.S. benchmark hot rolled coil steel prices are now sitting at around $1,500 a ton, a record high that is nearly triple the 20-year average.
Boy, we talk a lot about markets and how you don't want to obstruct markets and this kind of scarcity of supplies. Chuck comes on all the time. His shingles are so good that they're going to give you 50 years on them, right?
Yeah.
But the idea that your roof, the storm is not going to take that from you. It's hard to believe that you get 50 years out of your roof.
Right.
So the idea that these supplies are critical. He can't even give you an estimate until he knows what the cost of the shingles are. We talked about plywood just last week.
Yep.
Steel is being added to this. The idea of building something, you've got to forecast your prices, and we talked about labor. You want to kind of figure out where your margins are, and it's tough when prices are moving on you.
Well, and that's a big thing happening right now with the pre-construction market. So people, homeowner, they come in, they're excited, they sign paperwork on a contract, and they say, oh yeah, the builder says, yeah, we'll get this built in about 6 months.
Right.
Well, we've all heard the story. It ends up being 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 months. And then what happens also now, they're having to build into their contracts these price increases.
Right.
And some of the builders won't even do that type of a build anymore. They're going to say, wait, we're going to build the house. We'll figure out the price once it's done.
You could get yourself in a bad spot. I mean, and these guys want to do the work, but they want to lay out a promise to you. Hey, no problem. We'll get this done for you with this amount of people and these prices on your materials. What are they going to do? They're going to eat all those costs if it triples on them?
Yeah.
We just talked about tripling steel costs. That's got to go somewhere.
Yeah, that's right, James. So James D. Jerome here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. I'm your host, Brandon Rhymes, and we're talking about the impacts of these markets and different things happening in the pandemic, and just how it really affected supply lines. You also see. I want to flip and talk a little bit about real estate too. When you look at, when you're out there driving around, you're flipping channels maybe, or you're watching TV. You hear some of these hedge fund buyers come on saying, "Oh, we'll buy your house cash." You ever hear those?
Right, sure, all the time.
Yeah. So what happens is, what'll happen is a lot of times these buyers, they are hedge fund buyers from New York City or wherever they're from. They come in, they offer these lowball offers, and then homeowners sometimes fall for that, or they'll go for it because they're in a hurry. They get in a hurry, or they want to do some of these say, well, we'll make you an instant offer, you can close quickly. So that's another market where people sometimes say, well, I don't mind closing quickly if I can get it done, fast. I just want the money. I don't want to have people walking through my home.
Right.
So Keller Williams also has a program called Keller Offers, which is pretty cool. I haven't mentioned it on the show very often, but it's it's a cash offer, fast close, and some homeowners are looking for that, or even people that maybe inherited a home and they don't want to deal with listing it on the MLS.
Right. It has to make sense for you and your individual deal. And we talk a lot about, we want to be your advocate for you, but everyone has a unique profile. So you want to make sure it fits into your situation the best it can. I would just, when you start thinking about buying a house versus building, this kind of thing that we're talking about, these prices, man, that's the only scary factor. Everybody wants a new home. The idea of building a home, great. I mean, it seems wonderful. Of course you want to do that. The idea of being able to build a budget and kind of stay in that and forecast what might be a year or 18 months, that's a tough situation sometimes with markets.
Yeah, people come to me and they say, man, I'm just so tired of getting these multiple offers, my highest and best bidding wars. I'm getting this question a lot. My wife, Lindsay, and our great buyer agent team, they work with this a lot, and we've got ways to help navigate that, to help you win in those negotiations. But it might be an idea where you say, okay, fine, let's take a long-term approach. I love to quote Dr. Edward Banfield, where he talks about that 40-year study, and the number one thing is long-time perspective. Right. So maybe you might say, hey, let's buy some vacant land. Let's take our time on this. We're going to pay that land down. We're going to do a construction to perm loan, and we're going to build this house slowly. We know it's not going to be a fast process, but we're going to build our dream house, and at the end of 2 or 3 years, maybe we have a house built.
And that's a great, if you're in that position, man, that takes care of some of the stress of this pricing problem that you're talking about, because now you can wait it out a little bit and do some real comparison shopping and kind of try to find your sweet spot with the materials. But like you said, the idea of building a house, what a great, everybody wants to do that. Your dream, it's something everyone thinks about, their dream home. But it can be a little scary sometimes when you got to get those materials rounded up.
Yeah, exactly. And what comes to mind also is when you buy land, we've had Thomas Younk on the show, Cons, helping them, reduce that recidivism rate. And what he's talking about doing right now is they've got investors, and they're trying to put together homes for these prisoners coming out and being released back into as hopefully tax paying and great citizens again and rehabbing. But they're putting these container homes on land and just hooking utilities to them and making homes.
Necessity is the mother of invention.
That's right.
You'll find people trying to find a solution. They'll figure out some way to do this, and you'd want to make sure it's in everyone's best interest. But people are going to find a way to live.
That's right. All right, good stuff. When we come back, more with James here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, plus our feel-good story of the day. This is a really cool story. Twin sisters deliver babies just minutes apart. Really cool story out of South Carolina. Plus more with James here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Stay with us. Don't touch the dial.
Hey, I'm Ken Shamrock, and you're here with Consumer Quarterback Show. And I say, Brandon Rhymes, knock out your competition.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
This is Diane Vance with Fairway Independent Mortgage, a member of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Please give me a call for any of your mortgage needs. We do all sorts of loans. If you would like information on a mortgage, you can text me or call me at 727-647-8199. I will take care of all your mortgage needs. Go to my website at dianevance.com.
Ian Beckles here with my man Brandon Rhymes, a.k.a. the real estate quarterback. Brandon, what's happening with the market?
Thanks, Ian. We are in a low inventory market, so any of our listeners are homeowners and would like a free comparable market analysis or a 2.5% listing, we will honor this for the first 3 listeners who call or text in 813-773-1253. Free CMA and a 2.5% real estate listing at 813-773-1253.
Check out consumerqb.com. Selling commercial or residential property? Don't leave money on the table. List with the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. I'm Brandon Rhymes. Reach me at 813-670-7372 or platinummvpteam.com.
You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-670-7372.
All right, welcome back. Brandon Rhymes, Consumer Quarterback Show, Platinum MVP team, Keller Williams Realty, helping you win in your real estate deals. A couple of hot listings here. We got a bar for sale right here in Tampa Bay. Any investors out there? This is a cash cow. This bar is making a lot of money. 5402 U.S. Highway 92 in Plant City. It's a corner lot. lot. You can add a drive-through as well. You could sell package as well. 5402 U.S. Highway 92. Got a bar for sale in Plant City. Cash cow, $12,000 to $14,000 per week in revenue coming in. Great opportunity to own a cash cow business. Maybe if you're looking for a 1031 exchange, one of those types of scenarios. Great opportunity here in beautiful Tampa Bay. Of course, the property values are only going to increase here in Tampa Bay. 1602 East MLK, Gill's Body Shop, recently reduced. We did a small price reduction on Gill's Body Shop out here in Tampa. Again, another corner lot location. Great opportunity here in Tampa Bay. It's a 45-year-old business, turnkey operation. Folks are bringing their vehicles there to be repaired every day. Again, another cash business that they run and operate over there. Gil and Debbie do a great job at Gill's Body Shop. 2 of our hot real estate listings, commercial real estate listings, that is. You can see all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com.
Somewhere sunny and 75.
All right, every day we tell you something positive here on the Consumer Quarterback Show.
Tell me something good.
All right, so we've got twin sisters deliver babies just minutes apart. This is out of South Carolina. Same hospital, adjacent rooms, just minutes apart. Caroline Guerrero and Candace Hip were also born minutes apart. The sisters grew up together. They live across the street from each other, so they're very close, right? So they have this bond, and they're in labor in separate rooms. They're on FaceTime talking to each other as they're in labor. And it's interesting that she says, we talked multiple times, and we got to the point of, how far along are you? Well, how far along are you? Carolyn's husband said eventually the nurses got into a friendly competition, and then Edison Gray Guerrero was born at 4:43 p.m., and his cousin Louise Springs Hip was born at 5:18 p.m., and they both were delivered by the same doctor. So pretty cool story out of a hospital there in South Carolina.
Crazy story. They always say twins can feel each other's thoughts, or they think like each other. They can kind of sense that thing. Imagine those kids now, their moms are that way. You're not going to get away with anything. Your aunt's going to know everything that your mom knows about you.
Yeah, exactly. You're in trouble. Those kids are in trouble. They know, they see it coming down.
But what are the odds like that? The same exact day, same exact time?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, I wonder if they planned the pre-party of that. But anyway, so all right, so James D. Jerome here in studio, and talking about the economy, talking about how this show makes a difference. Again, kind of going back 8 years now, we set this show up as a consumer advocate-based program. It's all about helping you, the consumer, and first of all, it's up to you to engage. So we're going to entertain, educate a little bit, and we want to talk about engagement. So with you reaching out to us, that's how we can help you. Every week we have callers reaching out, calling in. I'm going to meet a gentleman today to help list his house for sale, and credit improvement, all these different areas. But reach out to the hotline, and that's how you can help fuel the show, help Salem Media and the Salem Radio family right here. Reach out to the hotline, 813-750-0550. Call or text 813-750-0550, and make sure you tell them you were listening to the Consumer Quarterback Show as well. We have special incentives. But James, I'd love to go through some of maybe our newer expert contributors, some of the folks that have joined the program.
Well, just like we were talking about being an advocate for the consumer out there, and the way that first half of the show today with Brandon Faust and Chuck Peterson and Doug Levi on talking about this insurance that's coming up, this changes that you need to be aware of. I think all of our attorneys do a great job. Of course, Joe Pippin's been around forever, and he's been on the radio forever and giving great advice. But Amelia Thanison does a great job for us.
Yes.
Jason Coble, and of course Frank Miranda, and we just brought on Kamika Rubin. So
yes.
we're expanding our attorney selection for you, and we really feel like that's a chance to get knowledge, real good knowledge about folks that deal with these kind of things in the court system all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Great content, and they have a little bit of category overlapping in those cases. Mm-hmm. But if you just come to us and you say, "Hey, Brandon, I've got this scenario." For example, I was at that meeting last night. Someone came to me and said, "I've got a homeowners association issue.
Mm-hmm.
There's something going on." Okay, great. That's a little bit of a niche that we're looking for an attorney.
Okay.
But I've got someone for you. Reach out to me. Here's my card. That's what the show is about. We want to be that turnkey solution, kind of put you in touch with whatever spoke of that wheel. If you think about that bicycle wheel, right? And at the center of that wheel is the show, and all those spokes extending out, representing another one of our expert contributors. But yeah, Jason Coble, great job, does an excellent job. I mean, we talk about cryptocurrency. We got an expert for cryptocurrency.
I was going to say, just recently, the expansion with Shane Sokash and Jackson Shembakar into alternative investments, and kind of that idea that there's more than traditional locations for your money.
precious metals is such a big thing right now, and especially, it's not just the traditional buy gold, hold gold, or buy coins and hold on to those coins in your safe, but it's also the semiconductors. All these cell phones, all these in-demand products that are out there, they need precious metals. So precious metals might be a good place for you to look at.
And the things, just future technologies and having an eye on technologies and knowing where things are going, or having someone who could come on and like Nate Ginter and talk a little bit about where he is in terms of cybersecurity, how you think about your own network of people that you reach out to and contact. You better have someone in that cybersecurity space you can trust.
Cybersecurity is such a key. You look at the increase. We've always had William Crowley as our credit expert, but you look at the cybersecurity space and the hacks. You look at the identity theft. I mean, even the federal government gets hacked. We just talked about that fuel pipeline. So, yes, having someone like Nate, Vine IT, he's our expert contributors for that space. He does a great job for us, James.
I love listening to him because I'm not as educated in that space as some of these younger folks are that come on and tell me all the different things. And of course, Jackson, with his cryptocurrency, I'm just listening to him like, what are you talking about? I can't even wrap my head around for most part.
Yeah.
Just our show, the way we've continued to find value, our sponsors, we have the Bilmar Beach Resort, and Clyde comes on all the time. But with Chad Irrigation, Victor coming on, that's a new kind of a thing that maybe people out there weren't aware of, an option out there in terms of irrigation for landscaping.
That's right.
We just have folks that go out of their way to make sure that they're providing value to you as a consumer out there. So our sponsors, I want to thank them for coming on the show and helping us.
Yeah, that's right. We've got some really good ones here. I'm thinking about Juan Llanos as well. He hasn't come on the show much, but he's DevSoft, web design. If you need web design.
Brandon Porter.
Title companies. Brandon Porter, that's right. Veteran Gutters.
We had Ramin with Heights Soft Wash.
Yes, exactly. So definitely any home service that you need. We just added a tree guy this week. He's a really cool guy, Josh, with his property company, Jag Management. There's some really good resources here for you. Michelle James, Tax Pro Tampa Bay. Talk about attorneys. She's also a CPA. She's an attorney and a CPA. And those tax strategies, in that overtime video we did for the podcast, we really dove deep in that. But she's got some really good strategies.
Well, that area is becoming very complex, and there's lots of nuance in taxes. It's not the way it was 10 years ago. There's lots of different options, and find somebody out there who knows exactly what's potentially available to you, because there's lots of different techniques.
Yeah, I can't think of a profession that really has more of an impact, and you have to stay up on your continuing education more than the CPA role, that tax advisor, that strategist. Especially in an election year like that, we went from one administration to another. Wow, I mean, look at all the changes. Look at how does that affect my business? How does that affect my personal 1040s or my other tax returns? And also coaching. Sam McCown. What a business coach we have. Great coach.
Sam's always good for me. I like hearing his strategies about having people calm down and kind of get control over their thoughts and everything. I tell you one that's been that's getting a lot of buzz out there is John Long from the United States Institute Against Human Trafficking. A lot of times people aren't aware. It's not top of mind, and you hear somebody come on and talk about that, and you realize it's all around you, and it's something that's horrific, and you're not even aware of it.
And it's sad how you have certain states like Maryland, Baltimore, Maryland, decriminalizing some of these. They call it a minor, but prostitution, those types of things. That only opens that door further for this type of, trafficking, the molestation. They get them addicted to drugs, and they move them around like they talked about. And what about Thomas King, Florida Firearms Academy, our Second Amendment expert? Man, he does a great job when it comes to finding out, what's the latest, what's happening, what about the National Association or the Rifle Association.
I love Thomas's approach too. People that would you consider your competition necessarily, other shooting locations, other people in gun education. Thomas befriends them, brings them on the show. He wants to spread the message about gun safety, gun education. It's for everybody. It's not a competition between him and his competition.
That's right. He's definitely has that like you said, the approach of, hey, I don't look at competitors. I don't look at them as competitors. I look at them as allies. We all have a different niche.
Right.
Same thing in real estate. There's people that are, hey, I'm best at condos, or maybe I might help you flip or rehab, or I might have this. I only do property management, or all these different areas. So another great show. Thanks for helping us out here, James. We appreciate it. Thanks to all of our expert contributors, Jonathan, Jose, everybody behind the scenes putting this show together, and we appreciate you as our listeners, our viewers. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We would greatly appreciate that. Follow us online at Brandon Rhymes 1 on Instagram and Twitter, Consumer Quarterback Show page on Facebook, Platinum MVP Team, and we want you to please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness do something kind for one another, and be a force for good in the community. We'll see you next time right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Contact Brandon Rhymes at 813-670-7372. That's 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time for the Consumer Quarterback Show.